Hi, hello, welcome back to another Onkruid video. Welcome to a video in Soulstone Survivors. I bet that is not what you expected. There is a new game mode called Titan Hunt. I'm still working on, whenever I feel a little burst of inspiration to play this game, working on maxing out the passive tree on every character, and I'm doing it in order. We are fucking with the Sentinel right now. Let's check out this new mode. Very attentive watchers might have been able to spot a little bit of blurred out Soulstone footage in the back of my latest song I uploaded, but now it's time to really get into the groove again. Defeat Titans and collect their blood to fill the vial. I don't know why does this say 1, 2, and 3? Oh, it's the number I can use to quickly select one, right? Yeah. I selected the Scorpion Pit right now. I think I'm just gonna let it happen, as Tame Impala would say, you know? I'm not really gonna be min-maxing too much. I'm not really gonna be focusing on anything too much. My runes are also all about just being chill. My attack skills even get chosen for me. And a very early blue rarity movement speed upgrade is something I will not say no to. It has been a heck of a while since I've played this game on camera, but some of you OGs, Onkruid watchers, will know that this game used to be on the docket daily for a whole while. I uploaded daily Soulstone Survivors videos for well, maybe not the better part of a year, but I think at least half a year, right? There have been more than 100 episodes, I know that. Kill the Dune Vultures. Okay, call me Lisan Al Gaib, because I will. This game mode has these little quick events, these little small events happening, kind of like in Guild Wars almost, where you spot at the minimap where the event will be triggered, and then you move along. And then once you kill all of them, you get this, which, if you get close enough to it, is a major experience explosion. So it's actually, it keeps the game mode new, enticing, fresh, and just fun. Because you can just dash around the map, moving from this point to this point, and all the events are a little bit different. The main gist of it is still going to be Soulstone Survivors, which is any Survivors games-esque. Namely, kill all the enemies in the circle. I think that's pretty much what sums up these types of games, right? But it's what keeps them fun. It's what keeps them entertaining for some reason. As long as you are far enough along on the autism spectrum, I think games like this can really butter your egg roll and toot your horn. Toot your horn is not the right expression to use there, but I digress in a big sense. We are banishing the slowing, and we are taking the upgrade for our character's passive ability. Why did I feel like playing Soulstone Survivors? That is a great question. I will probably not really be able to formulate a great answer to be honest. I was thinking about making a YouTube video. I'm trying to work on recording again a little bit. But I already made 2 of my Yalom book deep dive videos in quick succession. One yesterday, one today. And I felt like I could use a little bit of a change, a little bit of something fresh. And I was just looking forward to playing some games, to be honest. My time off from work has started today, and it is very welcome. I feel like it was a great decision to just take some time off. It's actually been since the summer that I've taken some real time off, and the attentive listener, the attentive watcher will realize probably, like, isn't summer like right around the corner? And yes indeed. So let that be even more evidence towards the fact that, like, okay, I needed some time off. I need some rest. Me and my girlfriend are headed to the south of the country we live in, to Belgium, just for a nice and chill time together, reading some books, going for walks, cooking together, drinking some drinks. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy, but that is going to be more than enough to recharge our batteries. She has had some holidays, so I think she might be in a bit less need than me, but I think she will definitely also just still enjoy it. She better. It's not cheap holidays, you know, so she better enjoy it, goddammit. I think it's gonna be a grand old time for the both of us. In terms of upgrades that we are picking when we level up, I'm still all about that passive build, you know. We still have Executioner on here, so we are trying to apply as many negative effects, as many debuffs to our enemies as possible. Very effective against these Lords of the Void, as you will remember from the classic game modes previously already in the game. But also effective against the smaller enemies for sure. I'm not really sure how this game mode generally plays out. The background footage I recorded for my song, I just let myself die immediately after I recorded like 2 minutes of footage, because I was planning on doing some other things and I had to go to sleep and I wanted to still upload my song. So I'm not that certain how these things progress in the long sense of things, but right now I think we're collecting void fragments, which is I guess what we are doing by probably just killing enemies, but also, and more importantly, by completing these events. And I can then imagine that that 2 below there kind of indicates how many void fragments we will get from the event. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. As you can see, the events are a little bit different, but in general, it's kind of like some of the missions in some Assassin's Creed games, right? A little bit of a reskin, a little bit of a recolor, but in the end, you're doing the exact same thing with the exact same game mechanic. Something that I think bothered me a bit less than it bothered some other enjoyers of the genre. And I think I'm going to call Assassin's Creed as a series, as a franchise, just a genre of its own. They really disliked the fact that the collection missions, for example, or the collection side quests were just kind of the same every single time. I quite enjoy it. And again, I think the gradation in terms of the autism spectrum might have something to do with that, but hey, no judgment, right? No judgment at all. One thing you might have noticed already, but one thing that I might have to mention as well, what is this? Is this kind of some general big, large material deposit? Is that I'm planning on not editing this video, just like in the good old Soulstone Survivors days. That is exactly how I was able to birth, ooh, shiny, to birth those daily videos for so long, is that they required no editing time, so it was just only the playtime and then some of the render time that was necessary, but that made it a lot more feasible to achieve a kind of schedule where daily uploads were possible. Why am I, or how am I finding the time rather to record a bit more now? It's because I'm making more time for it. I've had a bit of a reading arc lately, the last month and a half, and I think right now it's transitioning into a bit of a creation arc again. From consumption to creation for a second again, and it's valuable. I feel it in my bones whenever I create something, whether it is a poem, whether it is a video, whether it is something music related. I feel like, yeah, this is still important to me. This is still an important part of my life that I need to make sure I pay enough attention to and invest enough time in. So I think that's why I am investing a bit more time again in creating these YouTube videos right now. Still facing the same old struggles of like, what do I want to create? Is this still really a gaming channel? Am I going to focus more on the psychology side of things? Am I just going to focus more on books? Still need to get less lazy and record more with my actual camera, but hey, everything in its right time and in its right place, if we can believe Radiohead. A band I'm not that familiar with, you know. I've listened to OK Computer a bit, and I know some of their songs, and I know Creep, of course, which is not the best song in my opinion, but I'm not that well entrusted with their entire discography, and I think I would love to be more familiar with that, because I think there's some very valuable stuff in there as well that I want to get to know. Just finding a time to explore old music on top of all the time I try to spend exploring new music and making new music, it's difficult. You have to make a selection somewhere. A very nice step in discovering new music yesterday was going to my favorite DJ Pastiche and his show in my favorite bar in the city I live in, and it was a blast. He really is such a magician when it comes to blending genres together, when it comes to making sure that you feel like you're listening to one continuous song, because his transitions are so great, and at the same time transitioning between many different genres and vibes throughout the evening, many different classes of music, many different energy levels. Like, you really feel like it's a whole auditory experience on different levels throughout the evening. And maybe I'm glazing a little bit, but I would gladly glaze for the homies. Really, the DJ I enjoy seeing the most. I joke about me being the owner of its fan club, or kind of the proprietor of his fan club, because I often also take my friends with them. Sometimes maybe force them to come with me a little bit, but the people that went with me yesterday, including my neighbor, They were very, very fond of his music. And I'm glad, you know. I love sharing music, and I think this is just another form of that, another form of sharing music, because they were able to enjoy a whole entire evening full of weird, deep cuts that Pastiche found while digging in some crates. He spun a vinyl set for us. That's the first revive pot. I'm taking a lot of damage here. I think it's these little fellas that are exploding, and I'm just all of the time dashing into them, so I should be a little bit more attentive as to where I am going. I was mainly focused on my aim on the enemies, but I should look in front of me or behind me, depending on what direction I'm running in, to make sure that I don't die. Give me some more doom damage, give me some more doom damage, give me some armor power, because we are taking some hits. And now we will be fighting the boss, the Titan. It's probably the correct terminology. Right here in this little alcove in the back of the zone. I think the boss has a little introduction as well. Well, I shouldn't say I think I know, because I saw it when I recorded the background footage. Mizahet, Terror of the Sands. Interesting. The boss fight I did previously was okay. I mean, it lasted a while and you had to dodge a bit proficiently, a bit efficiently. I think this one will be a-okay. The one thing I am worried about, or that is slightly worrying me, is that this build feels a lot less strong, or not as strong as I'm used to other builds feeling. I guess I don't have that great of a frame of reference yet, because I don't know in this game mode what your build is supposed to feel like when you face the first boss, but it feels not lackluster or underwhelming. Those words are too big for sure, but it feels like it still has a long way to go. It feels like there's a lot of growth potential still that has to be untapped, that has to be unlocked. Then again, we are making quite quick work of this first boss if we're really, really honest with each other. And I strive to be. Awesome. Collect the Titan's blood, which is probably going to be that red globule right here. And then we can choose an upgrade. Every time you apply artifact power, you have a chance to multiply the quantity of text applied. I have no idea what artifact power is, but I think I'm gonna go for poison, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe I saw the boss having like over 1,000 poison stacks on him, so I believe our build is quite poisonous, to say the least. The gems in the bottom are the same. There's no indication of like which one is harder. This one looks cool, and the one in the middle I fought yesterday already. It wasn't yesterday, but I can call it yesterday, I guess. Quite a similar deserty themed map. I just think we're lacking some of the damage right now that I would like to see. I think on bosses and on huge monsters, if we just circle around long enough so that we can really apply a bunch of stacks, our damage is actually fine. Our damage is actually quite goated. But to clear out the enemies for some AoE, I think we are lacking. I think we are slacking. I think there is a great shortage of AoE damage. First event completed already. Want to make sure that I also pick up the rewards, but I'm taking my little cougar first. I wish that's something I would be able to say in real life as well. But I digress yet again. Feels great to be back in Soulstone, you know. It's such a calming game for my mind. I definitely should have taken the right upgrade there. It's such a calming game for my mind. I feel like my speech muscles just immediately get turned on again, just like your mother did yesterday when I walked into the room. And it's easy for me to ramble. Easier than in some other games like The Witcher sometimes, where a bunch of things can happen and they can impede your ability to form some well-formed sentences. I'm wondering whether I should continue my The Witcher series. I think I owe it to the public, because I think it was a series that was actually that some people were quite fond of. I know my buddy Kroger watched a whole lot of it, or maybe still watches it, I don't know, but I've been slacking on that department as well. I should get back into it, but it seems so daunting, right? The single player games, especially after work in combination with my therapist education, which is about to be on hold for the summer. That's why I can record more. I think after a long day of work, it sometimes requires quite some effort to put in the energy to boot up such a game and to actually record it and to say some interesting things and keep things hyped, keep things entertaining. Something like Soulstone is easier because I can just ramble, I can chill, there's no pressure, There's no peer pressure because you guys can't reach me through the screen, so I have no idea what you think of me. Don't comment, please. Just leave me the fuck alone. Just please, I beg you, leave me the fuck alone. But this is just like calm, collected, a ramble session, lighthearted, no expectations, no pressure. Just chill. Chill like a cucumber. Not cool like a cucumber, chill like a cucumber. I do also feel a little tiny bit tired though. I'm still a bit tired from going out yesterday, I guess. I have quite some shadow skills and I'm focusing on poison, so I would love to increase the efficiency of my non-shadow skills, including poison skills then. Came home at a little past 3, I think, and then I went to sleep and I woke up at like 9 already in the morning, so that's 6 hours of sleep. It's not nothing, right? And some people survive on 6 hours of sleep, so I know that for sure. But I'm not really used to that anymore. I'm focused on getting enough sleep in throughout a whole lot of the days normally. So these types of days are exceptions, and I feel it. I can feel it in my bones, and not in like a good folk indie singer-songwriter kind of way. Can you feel it? No, who says feel it in my bones? I got this feeling in my bones, but that's like Maroon 5, and I wouldn't call Maroon 5 an indie folk singer-songwriter because it's an entire band that it's not that indie and it's not that folk. Yeah, you know, yeah, okay. Just before starting this, I was in some YouTube rabbit hole, as I am prone to be in, and I was watching this gold-locked, oh, thank you. I was watching this gold-locked, I think this really ups our damage. Fuck off. Fucking Pinterest. Gold-locked series, or well, I guess it was the first episode on YouTube, about a guy playing World of Warcraft, but only allowing himself to progress to the next zone as soon as he was able to buy a WoW token, which is kind of like a bond in old school RuneScape, but then in World of Warcraft. Like buying membership, buying game time with in-game currency, and it's expensive. It requires a hell of a lot of gold, so he has really set himself a major grind goal, and I always appreciate those people. It gives you satisfaction. The satisfaction of watching them, seeing them progress, seeing them hopefully achieve their goals, without you having to put in all the hard work and effort and time yourself, you know? It's probably like the main appeal of YouTube for a lot of people. You can see people do things. If you're as crazy like me, you can also even potentially put your playback speed on ×2, and it's just like a lot less time for a lot more dopamine. It's also a bit dangerous to fall into that kind of dopamine addiction, I guess, but I'm quite okay with my YouTube consumption lately. I feel like it could still be better in a sense of like I could still consume a little bit less and produce a little bit more, but that's a tale as old as time, right? That I'm struggling with that balance. You guys have heard me talk about that plenty of times before. You know what I'm also feeling? I'm feeling a little bit of Minecraft. I'm feeling a little bit of a gaming revitalization. And why not share that with the people, share that with the world? Some more variety, maybe. Just booting up a random game. Maybe it doesn't always have to be The Witcher. I'm playing some Magic the Gathering off camera lately, but I think that is not as exciting to watch right now because I'm just playing mono white live game, which is kind of a very straightforward and easy deck, and I'm building up or trying to build up my collection by doing daily quests, by entering events, but I haven't built it up that amazingly yet. So, you know, it still takes some time, and you just watching me play like 3 or 4 or 5 games of mono white live game in a row, it doesn't make for the most enticing content, except for people that enjoy Magic, which I guess that is gonna be the people that kind of come to such a video. You know, maybe there's something to be said about it after all, and it can kind of fulfill the role, it can kind of fill the hole that Soulstone Survivors left behind a whole while back, because I think Magic could also be a game where I just ramble in between playing, especially, oh, don't get yourself stuck in a corner, especially if I'm playing something like mono white live game, because it's not a deck that requires the most brain power in existence to pilot, you know? You need to think sometimes about the order you're doing things in. You need to think sometimes about whether you want to put your second Ajani sprite mate on the battlefield already, or whether you want to save it for after a potential board wipe, things like that. Okay, they require some thought for sure. But in general, it's quite a chill experience. This game mode seems to last a bit longer than we were used to with the previous daily runs I did, but hey, that's okay. He's kind of sharkened. He's Brokenth, the player. He looks kind of like a shark gladiator with a weird Hawaiian-esque, I don't know why I'm saying Hawaiian, but it reminds me of an old school RuneScape weapon that also always makes me think of Hawaii. A Hawaiian-esque type of weapon. He looks, this is what he looks like. He looks like he could be a boss in Gunfire Reborn any day of the week. That's what this guy reminds me of. And it's not a bad thing. Gunfire Reborn has some interesting designs, so Soulstone Survivors has always also had a dear place in my heart, and in my opinion also some interesting design. I think they really perfected what the Survivor genre should be for me, in that it's a nice balance between dopamine, but also some depth in there, also some cool mechanics, and the art style is just a beautiful. Yeah. Good job, Forge Gaming, Gamer Forges. I forgot the name of the company that makes this game, even though I'm in the Discord, but I'm not active in the Discord at all anymore. I'm not active in games at all anymore. It's just like a League game. It's just like a TFT game, a Teamfight Tactics game. It's just a couple of Magic the Gathering games to complete my daily quest, and that's it. More reading, more trying to go for a run sometimes, and a whole lot of working. All your attacks may now apply it Shattered, which applies armor reduction. When an enemy with burn dies, it explodes. Those are both interesting, but I think I'm gonna go for Unstoppable Force. Considering we were sometimes applying, I think, like 4,000 poison stacks, if I'm not mistaken. I think that something that applies even more stacks is gonna be helpful. So do we need to do this 5 times to complete this mode, or what is happening? Or is it just until you die and then you get the Titan Blood? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I'm not gonna go back to the Scorpion Pit. Show me the Cobalt Mines. I guess we can maybe traverse through all the zones in one single match, one single video. Back to collecting Void fragments in order to then collect the Titan's Blood. Let's just keep focusing on the objectives, because that is what makes us progress throughout the game mode, and that's what we will need to do to start heading towards the end of the video. What I'm reading right now is a book called The Humor Code. It is by a scientist, by a psychologist scientist. It's right here. Hold on. Professional YouTuber. Not so professional. Okay. The Humor Code. It's very interesting. It's very intriguing. It's non-fiction, and it's about their research that they conducted while kind of traveling the world into what makes things funny. What makes humor? What makes it so that we laugh? Are some people more funny than others? Can you train your funny bone? Does alcohol make you more funny? What constitutes a good joke? What does it take to become a cartoonist for the New Yorker? A bunch of interesting questions. I'm not necessarily getting funnier by reading it, which is something I maybe hoped to achieve a little bit. I'm also not finding that many insights to apply to a research domain I want to maybe get into later, which is humor in psychotherapy, but I guess I still need to invest some time into scribbling down my notes into Obsidian, fleshing them out a bit, and only then giving it some thought and actually trying to connect some of the topics that I read in the book to some of the topics from psychotherapy, from my time in the work field. If you know about my system of book reading, 20% of the time is about reading the book, 80% of the time is about processing the material, which might scare some people off, but it's how I live my life. Although I know for a fact, and I see the stack of books that I have read but not yet processed right there, I am often avoiding the process part, because reading is just so much more fun, and it makes you feel like you're progressing way more than the typing out all of your notes. That is less rewarding, less dopamine inducing in the neural pathways in your dopaminergic system in the brain. My ventral segmental area remains starved while putting in the notes, as opposed to when I'm reading a book, I'm feeling like I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm acting according to my values. And that feeling is for some reason less strong whenever I'm putting in the notes. The reward just feels more delayed, and humans don't work. You might want to see the game, right? Humans don't work so well with delayed rewards. How long was I just showcasing my beautiful smug little face right there? That had to have been like 3 minutes, maybe? I'm not editing. Not that editing could have solved anything there, because it's just my idiocy. It's not like I can impose just change the camera setting up. So yeah, you will have to enjoy looking at me for a couple of minutes. Or well, you have enjoyed looking at me for a couple of minutes there. I hope it did something for you. I hope it tickled some maybe something sexual inside of you, you know? Maybe seeing me as a female finally made you realize, you know, I should really ditch my partner and look for a real man. Or seeing me as a male watcher made you realize that your sexuality is actually the other way around. I'm just rambling, I'm babbling. It's not making any sense anymore. It's all falling apart. I booted up this game with high hopes for a living, whatever the rest of the Panic at the Disco lyrics are. Little did I know that they would require me, or they would ask of me, to be funny, entertaining, loud, energetic for half an hour. I don't know if that's the kind of challenge I was up for, especially because I found a way of kind of compressing my notes of the album book in a manner, and also talking about the things more short and concisely. So recording those videos takes like, the actual recording process takes like 5 minutes of my time after I've written the script already. This is different. This is now going to take half an hour, and the rendering is then going to take half an hour, and you know, life is hard as a content creator. That's maybe what I want to say. Think bomb defusal expert, think lawyers, think Mike Rose dirty jobs. Those are all things that, okay, some people might complain about. But content creation, having to talk for half an hour while playing Soulstone Survivors, whew. Now that's what separates the real warriors from the regular old pussy human beings, you know? This gives us 4 void fragments, which is enough for us to be able to face the boss afterwards. Assuming we are able to defeat these lords, because they have gotten a lot tankier, I have noticed in our previous encounters in this floor. As long as we can just stack up the poison, the damage will become incremental, will increase exponentially. After a while, they will just succumb to all of the little wounds we are applying in an iterative manner. But we also have to dodge a lot. We also have to make sure that we are dodging, because they are dealing a heck of a lot of damage as well. I think these Lords of the Void are also empowered, because, well, this challenge gives me 4 Void Fragments, and I have not seen one before that gave me 4 Void Fragments, I think. And these guys have this weird glow surrounding them, so I guess that has to mean that they are empowered in some sense, you know? This might be the end of me, and this might be the end of my struggle of recording, because hey, once you die, you don't have to record anymore. I want to continue though. I want to finish this. I want to see where it goes. So I want to collect as much Titan's blood as possible. Well, time for me to get off my high horse, I guess. So I died, but I get the Titan's blood, right? I don't need to like complete 5 or something. We got 2. Yeah, we got 2. I think that's correct if I'm mistaken. Not that much XP. That kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit, because as I said, I want to complete this tree, so I'm gonna need those experience points. So now I have some Titan's blood stocked up somewhere. Collect 5 drops of Titan blood in a single match on the previous sigil first. Okay. Can we kind of decide the difficulty in any way? No, I guess it's just one difficulty. I think we just had not the strongest build there, to be honest, but hey, that was fun. Thank you for rejoining me for some Soulstone Survivors action, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.